Right now, something strange is happening in the car market. While everyone is chasing new electric SUVs, futuristic dashboards, and subscription features, a small group of American luxury cars is quietly being forgotten. Not because they're bad, not because they're unreliable, not because they're ugly, but because they sit in a blind spot of the market. They're too old to feel modern, too new to feel classic, and too American to be taken seriously by European collectors, which is exactly why they're about to explode in value. These are the kinds of cars people regret not buying later. The ones that get called future classics. The ones that suddenly triple in price while everyone says, I remember when those were cheap. And in 2026, the window to buy them quietly is closing fast. Which is why American luxury is finally being rewritten. For decades, luxury meant German or Italian. BMW meant performance. Mercedes meant status. Porsche meant engineering. American luxury was treated like the cheaper alternative. Big engines, soft suspensions, and lots of leather, but not much respect. But now the narrative is changing. Collectors are starting to value something different: character, rarity, and cultural impact. And American luxury cars from the 2000s and early 2000s suddenly represent a lost era. Number 7, Cadillac CTS-V, first and second generation. This is already happening. The CTS-V was Cadillac's revenge car, a full-size luxury sedan with a Corvette engine, rear-wheel drive, and zero interest in being subtle. It embarrassed BMW M5s, it outperformed Mercedes AMGs, and it did it with American muscle. Much of it for years, it was ignored because it wasn't European. Now collectors finally understand what it is. Number 6, Lincoln Continental, 2017 to 2020. This one feels shocking. The final Lincoln Continental was elegant, quiet, comfortable, and beautifully designed. It wasn't trying to be sporty. It wasn't chasing performance numbers. It was pure American luxury. Suicide doors, minimalist interior, extremely limited production, and the last real luxury sedan Lincoln ever made. It died quietly when sedans died, which is exactly why it will age beautifully. In 10 years, people won't see it as an old Lincoln. Number 5, Cadillac XLR. The Cadillac XLR was misunderstood from the moment it launched. It was expensive. It was different. It wasn't trying to be a Corvette. It wasn't trying to be a Mercedes SL. It existed in its own category. A hardtop luxury roadster with a North Star V8, futuristic design, and extremely low production numbers. At the time, people said it was overpriced. Number 4, Chrysler 300C SRT8. This car is already a legend in certain circles. Big V8, rear-wheel drive, aggressive design, luxury interior, and absolutely no modern replacement. The 300C SRT8 represents a dead breed, a full-size American luxury muscle sedan. It feels like something from a different universe compared to modern cars. Heavy, loud, powerful, physical. And once those cars disappear, people start paying for the feeling they can't get anymore. That's how value is born. Number 3, Buick GNX. Modern collectors are looking again. The original GNX is already expensive. But modern collectors are now hunting anything connected to that legacy. Late 2000s and early 2010s performance Buicks, limited trims, special editions, low production models. Because Buick performance is one of the strangest success stories in American history, and strange always becomes valuable. The hidden pattern behind all these cars. These cars aren't rising because they're practical. They're rising because they represent the end of something, the end of analog luxury, the end of big naturally aspirated engines, the end of physical driving experiences, the end of American brands building emotional cars. In 2026, luxury is becoming silent, electric, and identical, which makes loud, mechanical, personality-driven cars feel rare. And rarity creates price, the psychology of future classics. Most people buy cars emotionally. Collectors buy them historically. They ask, was it limited? Was it the last of its kind? Did it represent a turning point? Was it misunderstood at launch? Did it age better than expected? Every car on this list checks at least 3 of those boxes. And that's exactly the formula behind cars that skyrocket. The mistake most people will make: they'll wait too long. They'll assume prices will stay low. They'll think, I'll buy it later. They'll underestimate how fast collector sentiment changes. And one day they'll open a listing and realize the cheap ones are gone. The quiet opportunity. These cars are still affordable today, not because they deserve to be, but because the market hasn't caught up yet. And that's the moment where real money's made. Not when everyone is talking about it, but when no one is. Number 2, Ford Thunderbird 2002 to 2005 retro model. This car was ahead of its time in the wrong era. When Ford brought back the Thunderbird in the early 2000s, people didn't know what to do with it. It wasn't a muscle car. It wasn't a true sports car. And it wasn't trying to compete with European luxury either. It was pure nostalgia, retro design, 2-seat layout, soft luxury ride, limited production, and a very specific audience. At the time, critics called it pointless. In 2026, that pointlessness is exactly what makes it valuable. Number 1, Cadillac ELR. This one is already starting to shock people. The Cadillac ELR was a luxury plug-in hybrid built on the Chevy Volt platform. It was beautiful, futuristic, extremely expensive, and completely misunderstood. Why it failed commercially, it sold in tiny numbers. It was ahead of its time, and it disappeared quietly, which is the perfect recipe for a future collectible. In 2026, the ELR looks like a lost concept car from an alternate future, a luxury hybrid from the early days of electrification, built before the EV boom took over the world. It's rare, it's weird, it's historically important, and it has no direct successor. Those cars always rise. Why these cars will outperform everything else. The biggest mistake people make when predicting future classics is assuming performance alone creates value. It doesn't. History creates value. These cars represent moments that will never happen again. The last V8 luxury sedans, the last analog interiors, the last emotional American design era, the last pre-EV luxury generation. They're not competing with modern cars. They're competing with memory, and memory is priceless. Why 2026 is the last real entry point. Right now, these cars still sit in a strange middle zone. They're old enough to be cheap, but not old enough to feel collectible. They're rare, but not yet legendary. They're respected, but not yet hunted. That window never lasts long. Once collectors agree on a narrative, prices move fast. Once social media catches on, prices explode. Once YouTube and TikTok start calling them future classics, the deals vanish. And that's already starting. CTSV prices are climbing. 300 CSRT 8 listings are drying up. XLR owners are holding. ELR owners are refusing to sell. The market is waking up. The difference between buyers and collectors. Buyers look at monthly payments. Hey, collectors look at time. They don't ask, can I afford it this year? They ask, will I regret not owning it in 10 years? And the answer for these cars is almost always yes, because once the supply disappears, it never comes back. No more manuals, no more V8 luxury sedans, no more experimental American design, no more emotional flagships, just screens, silence, and subscriptions. The final truth about skyrocketing cars, the cars that skyrocket are never obvious. They're ignored first, mocked second, forgotten third. Then suddenly, everyone wants them. And by the time mainstream buyers realize what happened, the price charts already look ridiculous. That's how it always works, with muscle cars. With air-cooled Porsches, with Japanese classics, with analog Ferraris, and now with American luxury. Mike's the smart money moves quietly. If you're waiting for these cars to become popular before buying them, you've already lost. Real opportunities don't come with headlines, but they come with silence. So if you're serious about owning something that people will one day call a mistake not to buy, this is the moment. Not next year, not when prices double, not when everyone agrees. Now. Because in the car world, the biggest profits aren't made by following trends. They're made by buying the cars everyone else is still ignoring. If you want more deep dive videos on future classics, hidden gems, and cars that are about to explode in value, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop a comment with which car you'd buy right now before the market wakes up.